we have Ambassador Pinak Ranjan Chakravarty, who is the former High Commissioner of India to Bangladesh, joining us on the broadcast. And along with this, we also have Group Captain V.N. Jha, who is a former Joint Director of the DRDO and Senior Scientist, joining us on the broadcast as well. We will continue to get more updates and also guests, but at the moment we have Ambassador Pinak Ranjan Chakravarty. I appreciate you joining on the broadcast, sir. Thank you for speaking to NewsX. What is your take right now on the step, sir, which has been taken as a reciprocation and a retaliation by India in the view of the developments that have been unfolding in Bangladesh in the past 24 hours, down to 24 hours, and a lot has happened. It's a lot to be absorbed. But what is your analysis of how things have been unfolding as far as India's move and response to the developments in Bangladesh is concerned?
Well, in the beginning, India, when it started off, and I think, I presume monitoring was going on, both at the diplomatic and intelligence level, as to what was happening. But India basically sort of did not comment on it, and because it felt that it was an internal matter, and it said so, that this is an internal matter of Bangladesh, and so it's not for us to comment on it. And so that was the position, and then of course all this has happened, and though some people wanted India to say something or do something, but India did not feel that it was necessary to do so. And so I think the situation went out of control, and for various reasons, including mismanagement and mishandling by the Hasina government, which was basically a quota issue that had been in court, and then the Supreme Court gave a judgment which did favor the students' demands, and it should have ended there. But no, it did not happen because there was violence. Now, who did it and who first started it? These are all questions which will be asked and answered later. But basically, the quota protests were taken over by political opponents of Sheikh Hasina. And the question also arises, who supported them and why were they doing it? And I have no doubt that they were receiving support from abroad. So I think that also happened. And finally, this was a good opportunity for those who wanted Hasina out from power to develop this protest to an extent that it turned out to be a regime change operation. I think that is very clear that many people, and then she has many opponents and those who don't agree with her, and of course the internal opposition, the BNP, which has been boycotting the parliament, was of course very, very angry, and then the Jamaat, the Islamist group, basically who are the stormtroopers of the on the streets, who are trained in violence and are also hate mongers in many ways. They are the ones who took over, basically, the agitation. And the army, of course, and the military, the military chiefs, etc., also did not side with Sheikh Hasina. And they felt that it was best that she resigned and leave. And they gave her an ultimatum, and she had then no choice.
But Mr. Chakravarty, what also needs to be looked at importantly is the formation of the interim government. And as far as the names are concerned, and of course there are 3 or 4 of them being in the race of the formation of the government as well. But when we talk about Mohammed Yunus, what essentially do you think? He has been accused of siphoning $100 million. There have been expose. Now, when we talk about Mohammed Yunus, how do you think and view about him taking the charge in the absence of Sheikh Hasina, and especially the order in which the series of events have happened? She fleeing to India and now finding a safe haven here, wanting to get asylum here. And then there we have Mohammed Yunus at the other hand, now he is going to make a deal and engage into a dialogue with student protesters. What is your take essentially on his being an essential part of the formation of the new government?
Muhammad Yunus comes from his experience in the 2007 when it happened, the army takeover and the caretaker government, when the army decided that they would like to eliminate in the sense that send the two Begums, as we call them, Hasina and Khalida, into exile, because they said these two keep fighting and the political discourse has been vitiated. So let's go for a new leadership. So they had promoted Muhammad Yunus that time as well, and told him to launch a new political party, etc., which did not succeed, because it's not easy to just create a party and take on a grassroots party like Awami League and the BNP. So that failed. So he has that experience behind him. Then, of course, there were allegations of siphoning and all that you mentioned, for which the Hasina government foisted many legal cases, which are still going on, and so they fell out very badly, and so there was a bitter kind of relationship between them. So I think, plus, of course, he's a Nobel laureate, so the world knows him. He's respected in that sense of running the microcredit scheme, which has been successful. I mean, there are a lot of critics about how it functions, etc., but the fact remains that it has been successful, for which he was recognized with the Nobel Prize. Now, so I think his coming back is an indication that the powers that be, that is the military and others, must have joined hands to get him, so that first of all he has an international image, and will give some legitimacy to the what we call the interim government. And but he's also well known in the West, and very friendly with the Western powers. So that is also an indication that the government or the army or the would like somebody with that kind of a sort of international image to head the government. That is, if he actually does it. I'm not sure whether he has accepted and whether he has been sworn in already. So that is the basic, I think, premise on which he has been sort of considered.
And what is essentially this understanding of how External Minister Affairs Jaishankar, when holding a all-party meeting, saying that India is committed to deliver more time to Sheikh Hasina, who is currently in a state of shock in the view of what has been unfolding. He is, in fact, now making statements of saying that even within 24 hours, India will give Sheikh Hasina more time. The view and the developments that India is at present taking over, in your opinion, are taking a safe passage, or it is going to be a little difficult for India, because there is a worry for an anti-India sentiment once the new government or interim government takes place there in the neighboring nation?
Well, I think Hasina has spent years in India. In 1975, her whole family was butchered by the army. And since then, she and her sister have spent lots of time in India. And her sister, of course, spent a lot of time in London, where she was married to someone who's probably is a British national. And she also, I think, holds a British passport. So Hasina is not new to India. She spent many years here. Her children studied here when she was in exile and could not return to her country during military rule. But then once things settled down in Bangladesh, she did go back to head the party and took over the leadership. So, and India has a long relationship with her for this reason. And there was no reason for India to deny her sort of that she wanted to come here and then decide what to do next, whether to stay here, whether to go somewhere else, etc. So that, I believe, that effort must be on, or those negotiations must be going on. And so we may see her either leaving or deciding to stay for some time, and India will accommodate that. in the sense that if she wants time, she will get it from the Indian government. And so that is the way Indian government has dealt with it. There was no reason, we take in refugees from so many countries, including the illegal ones that come in from various countries, including Bangladesh. So there is no reason why we should deny. Now, how the government in Dhaka, the new government, will take this, I do not know. I mean, if they want to become aggressive on this issue, India would have to deal with it, and we know how to deal with such issues. And so I don't know. I mean, whether that new government in India, in Dhaka, will make this an issue with India or not, or they are satisfied that she has left, and that's it. That's the end of her political career, so to speak. And the new government has other things to do, and they have a lot on their hands.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chakravarty, for giving your detailed inputs and giving your time on the broadcast over the crisis that's been unfolding in the neighboring nation of Bangladesh. We appreciate you joining.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.